Hey everybody, this is Kat with Joe Kinda Co-Conscious, and yes. So it kind of works in for today because I wanted to share with you what it was like what it is like in our headspace, as well as going through some terms of headspace, fronting and co-consciousness. So firstly, this video is how we see and we experience the headspace. Obviously different brains are different, and so this is just how we see it. We've seen many great analogies on other channels, so go check them out. So I know there's been like the car analogy from Multiplicity and Me. So we wanted to do something a bit different and kind of try to show you what it looks like, or at least what the outside world looks like in different states of consciousness, depending on where we are in the headspace. So first, what is the headspace? Basically, if you think of it like a foggy observation room with a one-way mirror. So if you've seen any kind of crime dramas or anything, it's like the room where it looks like a mirror on one side but it's a window on the other. But instead of it being filled with technology, it's filled with fog. This is a place where alters can observe what's going on in the outer world without being seen, while being able to communicate with others in the headspace, sliding into various levels of co-consciousness. So at the front of the headspace, or in other words when you are fronting, you can see the outer world perfectly. Here, whoever is fronting or co-fronting has control over the body and goes about our day. Those close to the front but not actually fronting can mostly see what's going on and can easily talk to the people fronting and may be able to influence them if they have a very strong reaction to something. When they are very close to the front, they can also switch out with people in the front without too much trouble. If you are in the headspace but further back, the outer world and the activities going on are harder to make out and harder to remember afterwards because the fog is thicker. You might be able to make out bits and pieces, but it's a bit patchy and requires a lot of concentration. However, as you move further forward, the fog lightens and more of the outer world and the memories around that is visible. Exactly as it would be if you were walking through or driving through fog in the outer world. Finally, people might still be around in the headspace, but totally blocked from the front for various reasons. So, for example, if a little is in the headspace and then something comes on the screen or happens in the outer world that little should not see or experience, they will be totally blocked from what is going on, either by being taken into the inner world if we have some kind of warning that this thing is going to happen. However, if we do not have warning, they will just be blocked out. So when I experience it as the host, it's more like time disappears and I'm not aware of it until I'm fronting or co-fronting again and find myself somewhere else, or if our indicator rings have changed. For example, today I was working and I had 4 rings on. I had mine, Joe's, and then kind of close in the headspace I had Holly and Ash. And I thought that I had done the whole morning without being influenced or switching or anything. But then later on I looked down at my hand and realised that Ash's ring had gone and I didn't know where it was. I found it after a while. I had to look a long time. But I was not aware that that had happened. It was just that there was a change that I hadn't made. So the easiest visual for this was just a black wall of colour, because I liken it to blacking out. You don't necessarily, or often you don't remember what's happened unless somebody shares the memories with you, which eventually Ash did in this case. He shared the memory with me of what he did with the ring, after letting me look for it for a while. But I, on my own, I did not know where it was. It's important to remember that the only time that you have full control and intentional control of the body is when you are fronting or co-fronting. Now, fronting is if it's just you doing it. Co-fronting is obviously more than one person at the front, controlling bits of the body. Somebody might have control of an arm, someone might have control of the legs, someone might have control of the mouth, someone else might have control of the body, like limbs and stuff. Passive influences may occur, as we said, if strong things come up, but these are often short-lived and unintentional. I don't have access to the inner world myself. However, the rest of my alters do. And there are a few stages to get from the inner world into the headspace. Again, these are very personal to us. Not everybody will have these stages, but if you would like to know about them, we'd love to do a video on it. So please comment below if you are interested in hearing about how everybody gets from the inner world into the headspace. As far as I know, I just black out in my head, like, yeah. So here's a kind of story from recently, to kind of show the different levels of co-consciousness, kind of. So I was asleep, we were asleep, we'd gone to bed, we were asleep. And in my mind, we were in bed. And what happens sometimes is alters will get up in the night, and I won't know about it until the morning if things have changed, but often they're very good at making things look totally normal, and I only found out later. But there was a moment one night where I was absolutely sure that I was in my bedroom, in my bed, asleep. I was also totally sure that I was looking at my mantelpiece, sitting on my sofa. So I felt like I was in 2 places at once. And that was because the last memory I had was going to bed. And I was not meant to find out that somebody had been up in the night. So, for whatever reason, whether I had started to wake up or something, I don't know, but I became recall where, but again there was fog. It was like I was being pulled back into what I thought things were, but I knew that I was on my sofa. Or in this case I think it was Shadow. Shadow was sitting on the sofa doing whatever they wanted to do. I don't know what they did. I don't know what time it was, other than like some point in the middle of the night. I know I was very tired the next day, and I know I was quite confused, and I did have to check in and be like, hey, were we up in the night? Because there was a moment where I felt like I was in the living room, even though I was adamant that I was in bed. And yep, we had been up in the night. So I don't know whether it was because I was in the stages between waking up and being asleep, and whether that somehow shifted what was going on normally, or what normally goes on in the headspace when I'm asleep. But yeah, it was an interesting experience, very confusing, very disconcerting. However, once I knew what had gone on, it was all okay. So I hope this has helped you to understand a little bit further on the headspace, and the terms of fronting, co-fronting and co-consciousness. These are obviously our experiences, and obviously not everybody with d.i.d, or I don't know if OSDD people have the same experiences, but I've heard that the d.i.d people do, or systems do. So yeah, as an aside, sorry I forgot, the bits where the when we dissociate, that is when we are in like the really patchy fog, like sliding between the front and then the different layers of fog. That's kind of how I can explain what it feels like to dissociate, and that is why often we just stare into space and we can't do anything else. It's because we're trying to focus on the outer world and stay present, but at the same time we're aware that we're being pulled back into fog and we don't really know what's going on. So there you go, you've got another one, dissociation. That's what it feels like to dissociate in our system. So yeah, I hope you were all okay, staying safe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.